All right, welcome back to the AeroBear podcast. I'm Isaac Lopez. This is my brother.
Bear Lopez.
And we are joined today by a special guest, our father,
Patrick Lopez.
Patrick Lopez. So you got three Lopez's on the pod. We have another jam-packed show today. But before we get into that, I just want to say if you haven't subscribed to Bear's YouTube channel, you should do that. If you are listening to this podcast, it's really simple. Just go down to whoever posted this and subscribe to that channel. He also has a Gifts and Go that he's trying to raise money to support what he's trying to accomplish this year in Europe and just his future cycling endeavors. So you can just click on the link in the show notes in the bio and just go and see what that is all about on Gifts and Go. And then also follow him on Strava. He's Bear Lopez, and you can follow all of his rides. We're going to get into this, but he's about to travel around the world to race, and so there's going to be some really fun posts over there, and you'll be able to track his progress live because he posts right after his rides, generally. So, so today we're going to get into three things. One is the Criterium du Dauphine. We're going to do a quick recap of that, and then we'll take a break in the middle of that and talk about Bear's next travels coming up. We're going to just kind of take a deeper dive into that. And then we'll wrap up by previewing the Tour de France because that starts July 5th. And, just kind of give some insights as to what we're looking for. And then also just some of the rivalries that I think are going to be really fun. So if you guys have anything else, we'll just jump in.
No, sounds good.
Cool.
Let's go.
The Criterium du Dauphine was very entertaining, and just right off the bat, Bear and I did pick the actual victor. We were wrong on the Giro, but we were right. We both picked Tadej Pogacar.
We got a 50-50 shot now.
Yeah. So our numbers are actually pretty strong if we were playing baseball.
Actually, if Tadej's in the race, picking him is
it
depends.
It's a crazy pick.
It depends because, and this is where I want to just kick it off, is in a 1 week stage race or anything shorter, you can pretty much bank on Tadej at least having a shot at winning or being the favorite.
Yeah.
Like in a 1 day stage race, it's going to be him or Matthew Van Der Poel or Wout.
Yeah. Or
a few other guys. But what was your guys' reaction in the time trial where he lost? Was it 50 seconds to Remco and then 30 to Jonas?
Yeah, we're right under there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any insight into what happened there for him?
I mean, there's rumors about his bike wasn't quite to what he was liking there. I mean, if you watch, you can see his bike skip a couple times on the descents.
Right.
So that can affect a little bit. Even so, that's not gonna change 30 seconds in TT. So, I mean, I think I've listened to this on some of our podcasts. Jonas and Remco both have good records against him in the TT. It's not like he always dominates those.
Right.
So, I think that was obviously more time than he wanted to give up. But, I mean, it was good to see Vingegaard look strong in the TT, and hopefully he keeps on building on that for the climbs.
Yeah.
Well, significantly, he lost 11 seconds to Matteo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Go Team Idaho.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I think that's really cool is that one of the reasons it makes it so fun to pull for a guy like Vingegaard is because Sepp Kuss and Matteo are two of the 7 or 8 Americans that are near the top.
Yeah.
And Matteo had actually a pretty good race because he finished, was it 8th overall?
Yeah.
He was in the top 10.
That's right.
Yeah. And he did that after sacrificing quite a bit to work for Vingegaard or attacking early in places where if you're the number one guy for the team, you wouldn't normally attack.
Right. So let's stay on Matteo for a little bit because obviously he's from Idaho, so that's incredible.
And finished 6th.
Finished 6th. Okay,
Yeah.
So if he wasn't racing for Jonas and really tracking down some of the breakaways, especially in the mountains, do you think that he would finish higher? How would his performance change? Would he be able to hang with the top 2? If he weren't on Jonas's team?
I don't think he's hanging with Jonas and Tade. I think you could make a case for third, but Lipowitz has been looking really strong.
Right. Yeah.
And so he's, I don't know, it's hard to take away from Lipowitz because, I mean, it's hard to say because Jorgensen had, I think, one or two bad days where it's hard to tell whether or not if he had done less work, would he have still had a bad day or would it have just been reduced?
Yeah, you never know if it transfers.
Yeah.
Right? When you go from the support guy,
Mm-hmm.
you can have good days, but you don't know if that would transfer to if you were the GC guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And can you avoid the bad day then?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting too, is that you would also get the attention of being the top GC rider for another team. Because, I mean, Poggi, I mean, he was chasing down some of Jonas's lieutenants, so maybe that doesn't really apply here.
Yeah.
But it just seems like maybe he would still get a lot more attention, and that might just even out the...
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's riding for himself, he isn't attacking on those like second climb before the end or third climb before the end. And if he's waiting until the last climb, I don't see him attacking off the front when Poggi and Jonas are going full speed. So I don't think it will transfer in that way.
So who's going to catch those two guys? I mean, they just seem a cut above everybody else. They are. It's not seems. They are. How is it training? Is it diet? Is it God created you this way? I mean, like what?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you do to try to?
They're on the two outright best teams in terms of both upcoming youth and just strength.
The big engines.
Strength, yeah.
Right.
So UAE and Jumbo are the two, I guess, preeminent GC teams right now.
Right.
And so it's hard to compete with that because both of those teams have second and third guys that are still very, very competitive at the top level.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both have other riders that if one of those went down could still podium.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean, last year at the Tour when Remco came third, Almeida, after doing work for Tade all race, finished fourth.
Right.
Yates has finished third after helping Poggi all race. Yeah, so they've got a really strong squad. In terms of coming up against them, I think it's hard to say what's it going to take to match them. I think you have to really just figure out some kind of tactic or some kind of way to keep your team together and strengthen numbers, but it's been really hard to in this current racing environment.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. That leads me to one of my questions I was having is just after watching Poggi struggle in the time trial and after a really strong start to the race by Jonas where he was attacking on stage one. Mm-hmm. How can these riders just bounce back? Like, I mean, Poggi looked like completely unfazed, and it looked like the start of the race when they went into the mountains. How do these endurance athletes just bounce back so quickly?
I mean, that's where the diet, nutrition, and sleep all comes into play.
The training's so different
than
it was 10, 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, like, that's just a big thing where whenever a guy crosses the line, the first thing he's handed is some kind of recovery drink and water. Like, by this one year, it's, like, immediate that they're going into prep for the next stage. So that's a big thing for how they're bouncing back.
What else do they do? Is it... I know they also hop on a train bike to cool down, but they've always done that. Yeah. What other things are they doing right now?
They're measuring effort so much better. And so they seem to know exactly when a rider gets off, they know exactly what he expended and exactly how much fuel he needs to replenish everything he's lost.
Within a certain window of time.
Right, right. So that's why you'll see them chugging drinks immediately afterwards. Right. They know exactly what they're doing with it. They know what it takes to get him back to race ready the next day. Yeah. Whereas that used to be more off of feel. Right. Right. I mean, they still understood recovery and everything, but it used to be more general. How are you feeling? What's going on? How do we, and now they're able to push the level of performance every day because they know exactly what's necessary to recover. Right. So they're not reserving energy.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I do think what's interesting though is Jonas seemed to go in the other direction, where he raced really well, and I do think that there's a couple possibilities for that. One is he hasn't raced since, was it Nice?
Yeah.
When was the last time? So he hadn't raced in a while. So there's some form that might be playing into that, form questions, and then maybe this just really favors Tade, where you're pounding it out 3 stages in a row, and that favors favors Tade, because that's where he seems to fall apart, is that third week of the tour in the heat, if he does fall apart.
If he does, yeah.
So does that mesh with what you guys are seeing? Why did Jonas go backwards?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jonas faded. I think he was pretty consistent across. I mean, if Tade wasn't there, Jonas runs away with this race easily. Right. And so...
But Jonas literally pulled off Tade's wheel twice.
I know. Yeah. But what was the end of that stage? What was the gap?
That time when he pulled off was like the third battle in the mountains, and he only lost about 15 seconds.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, first of all, they're still human. Mm-hmm. So a guy, even though they know what the numbers are, they know what it should take to get that guy, there is a point where if you do too much, you may not recover. Just because the science says you can doesn't mean you always will. Right? Just like there are times where the numbers will say you shouldn't be able to, and yet they still do. Right?
Yeah.
And I think there you're seeing with Tade, when he has a bad day, he lost 15 seconds.
Right.
And he's good enough to make up for that.
Right.
The rest of the race.
Yeah, I think it was really just, we saw him strong. Jonas was strong early in the race, and I think he kind of stayed at that level throughout, and Poggi just got better as we hit those climbs in the last part of the week.
Right. Okay. Well, if there's anything else you want to discuss on the Criterium, I think we can move on.
Sounds good.
Because I'm really excited about talking about the tour.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about Bear's adventures coming up here. First, he's going to Wisconsin.
Start with the most exotic location first.
Yep. Yes. We'll start. We won't even preview the next thing.
We are going
to Milwaukee,
to Spokane, to fly out to Chicago, and then we go to Wisconsin.
So, what are you doing in Wisconsin?
No offense to I'm sure the many hundreds of Milwaukee listeners you have. But,
yeah, I think it's in Wisconsin, but I'm not sure. We'll find out. But yeah, we'll be racing in Toad, which is Tour of America's Dairyland, racing with in the junior series races. So we have 4 crits in different locations over 4 days.
Okay.
It's juniors 17, 18, Cat 1, 2, 3.
Nice. Okay.
So it should be, once again, some of the best juniors in the nation.
Do you think you'll see some of the guys you saw in Redlands?
For sure, yeah.
Cool.
Since it's a junior series race, that means that it's really important to go to these if you're looking to be part of the national squad and go and race in worlds and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Is you have to perform well at some of these junior series cups. Obviously, that's not really concerned with me, both in the fact that I did really bad at Redlands and I didn't race in 2 or 3 of the early ones that were really early in the year. Yeah, I'm excited to do Toad. I've got some guys that I'll be racing with later in the month that I'll be seeing there, and some guys that I've raced with down Boise will be there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what are expectations for Criteriums? Because I know you favor longer road races with hills.
Yeah.
And these are, do you know what the average length is, or will it vary? Yeah.
How long is
I think 3/4 of a mile to a mile and a half.
But how long are we racing for?
50 minutes each.
Okay. So 50 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty comparable to what I've been doing Twilight Crit, just 5 minutes longer, but it will be a lot more intense in terms of the lap, just because at the Spokane crits you don't have as many tight corners and short straightaways. You have more time to settle into a rhythm, and these will be pretty hectic. A guy I raced with down in Boise, he did them last year in the, I think 17-18 Cat 3-4. so not the junior series level, but he was saying it was pretty hectic even there with crashes and whatnot.
Yeah.
So staying up will be a big priority, and then just trying to find out. I can see my power differences from Redlands already in training, so I'm hoping to put those to good use in Wisconsin.
Okay, cool. So is it just gaining experience, getting back on the race circuit?
Yeah,
are you hoping to podium in a couple of them or top 10?
I'd love to try to grab some upgrade points. I think we have a field of 50 or so.
Oh, great.
60, 50,
yeah,
fantastic.
In every
yeah,
race.
so
more points on offer.
Yeah, big field, plenty of points. Yeah, just trying to snipe points wherever, and obviously stay upright.
Are there points on course before you cross the finish line, or is it just in the finish line?
Just finish. I think in terms of like the Omnium standings, when it's all scored together for like the overall race, there might be some bonus points throughout, but not in terms of upgrade points.
Okay. So are you going to be applying some of the same methods that they might have used at the Criterium du Dauphine to refuel between each day? I know you love burgers, but like, what are you going to do between each day? And I'm assuming there's travel in between towns. I don't know how close they are, but yeah, what's your fueling strategy? You try to reload.
It's weird because for a 50-minute race, you might be taking one gel during the race, if that, because it's not really long enough to justify much fueling during. We'll probably carb load before, get a carb mix in a bottle before the race, and then maybe 1 or 2 gels before we start, or maybe a gel afterwards. Okay. We've got a recovery mix that we can use as well for right afterwards, and then really it's just spinning out, get the lactic acid out of the legs before we drive back to wherever we're staying, and then just fueling and sleeping is the big thing to get ready for the next day.
That's cool. It's not a 3 to 4 hour effort. Right. So under an hour.
Right.
You generally can manage that fairly easy.
Right. So what's your role going to be, Dad? Just as because you're going with him on this leg of the travels.
Yeah.
Are you going to be just reminding him of some of the basics, or I don't know? Do you have a strategy going into it?
Well, I mean, he's got his coach that gives him a good warm up and designs everything for him. On what he's doing each day, and he'll communicate with him. So I'm more of support. I make sure all the food that's necessary is in the Airbnb where we're staying. He's actually going to be doing more of the meal prep in the evenings, so he's got to get ready because when he goes to Europe, that's part of what they have to do is they have to pair up and cook for the whole squad. So
it's going to be great.
So he's going to get a chance to practice some of that while we got some. For us, it'll be life where it's just racing for a week, and we don't get that very often, right? Usually we're doing a bunch of other things all day long, and we try to get out and race in the evening. Or we rush for a weekend for 3 days of racing. But this will be kind of nice. We got a whole week, and so we'll take advantage of that, and he'll prep his meals each night and just try to get into a rhythm. And basically it's a dress rehearsal because we go straight from there. I put him on a plane in Chicago, and he's going to Ireland.
Wow.
So,
yeah. So that's a good jump to the next stop on your trip, Ireland. Kind of, how long will you be in Ireland, and what will it look like?
I think I'll be in Ireland for a little under 2 weeks, right?
A little over
17
2 weeks. Days. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first week or so will be training, kind of like a team camp, kind of familiarize ourselves with both the courses and just teammates and kind of meet each other. We'll be racing in, I think there's technically 10 of us going over, but we're racing in 2 squads of 5.
Nice, okay.
Team California and Team Boost Cycle Sport. And right now I'm assigned with Cycle Sport.
Okay. Could that change while you're in team camps, or?
Probably, but I don't expect it to.
Okay.
Yeah.
We get jerseys? Like matching jerseys, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll be given jerseys there. And then, we'll dive into the Giro Tour of Ireland. We'll have, I don't know how many riders are registered for it now.
It's like 120 or so. It's a big peloton.
Wow.
120.
That's gonna be cool.
International
Competition, teams of 5.
Cool.
6 days of racing, 6 stages. I think about 600K total.
Wow.
So we'll be racing quite a bit, And
what's that miles? It's like 390. No, it'd be like 490.
Yeah, I think the race is between like 50 and 90 miles.
Okay,
does that sound right? 50 and 80 miles, I think each day.
day.
Is there a time trial?
No time trial. Thank goodness. Okay. That we'll see if I'm in a position to where that suits me or not.
Okay.
I really have no idea how I'll do in that environment, just because it's going to be an entirely new thing. This is a cool race. They've got a points KOM. I don't know if they have a young rider, like a 17-year-old.
Yeah, I don't know what they do.
But they have points KOM and overall classification jerseys. As well as like some small preems and stuff for different finishing positions.
Cool. This will be your first stage race where everybody's there as part of a team.
Right.
Yeah.
Where oftentimes, even though you've done some multi-day races, half the guys or more are riding as individuals.
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to create a different aspect to the racing.
Right down the left side of the road. That'll be weird.
Yeah. Just make sure your corner properly in the right direction.
That's a big thing that they're saying, like, that's why we have to spend like a week-long camp, is because you need to actually learn handling.
Fair
and
enough.
like when you exit a corner, you don't drift to the wrong side of the road.
Totally. No, that makes sense.
We've already been told horror stories about like guys like a car like braking in front of them and them zooming to the right of the car instead of the left, and just like getting run into a ditch or whatever by oncoming traffic. It'll be good. We'll see how the weather is too.
That's cool. Yeah. Because I guess, do you expect it to be really hot? I
expect it to be rainy, probably.
Rainy cool.
We've been advised to bring warm clothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's northern. I'm thinking of France in July in the Alps. Will your coach pick a team leader like that you'll all be pulling for? How will that selection go?
We don't really have any idea how that's going to work. I think that's part of what we'll find out in the team camp.
That makes sense, yeah.
Let's see what we have in terms of firepower, and are we going to try to just go for like sprints, or are we going for like a points classification? We'll see, and I guess we'll just find out once we actually get everyone all together.
Because your team is made up of guys from all over who have never raced together.
Right now I'm listed with guys that are like, I think we've got one guy from Mexico. There's a guy from Canada.
Guy from the upper East Coast.
Yeah, guys from Connecticut will be there.
Wow.
So it's really widespread. We're under the umbrella of Team California Juniors, but we're very widespread from there.
Yeah, it's like the Americas.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, it's not like your coach is taking all of his riders. He's coaching. He's picking these riders to go. Right. It wasn't like a guarantee when you signed up with him that you would be able to go, right?
No. So, the coach that I'm training for, he's associated with it, but he's not directly.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
He's basically a connection to which I could get into like what I need to do in order to get onto this squad. He won't be coaching at Ireland, but he will be coaching at Belgium.
Cool. Okay.
So, we'll be, I think it's Sean Wilson and Chris Daggs. Are going to be the two coaches for Ireland.
And you'll meet him in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Chris
Daggs.
Will be in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Chris Daggs will be coaching the Team California squad at Wisconsin.
And will you be racing as a team there?
No, I'll be racing solo there.
Gotcha.
I won't be a part of Team California until I go overseas.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Belgium.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really cool. So the majority of your time is going to be spent in Belgium if Ireland's 17 days and you're gone for 6 weeks.
Yeah. I basically, right after we finish Junior Tour of Ireland, I'm packing up and getting on a flight here, I think the day after that, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
And heading over to Belgium. Since I'm I think I'm the only guy going straight from Ireland to Belgium. I've got a few days where it'll just be me and I think some of the staff training over there before everyone else starts rolling in.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Get a little bit more, I don't know, some focus work with your coaches.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be my first time in extended contact with my coach that I've been training with for the last 6-7 months now.
That's awesome.
So
that's gonna be so cool. Man.
All remotely.
Cool. Yeah, we have been told on our Discord group chat though that we will be able to ride some of the Flanders climbs.
Oh, nice. Cool.
So I'm excited to may hit some of those.
Yeah. So that's why you should follow Bear on Strava.
Yeah.
Just,
right.
If you want to know how a more normal person would go up the Paterberg, you'll probably find out during that.
And if you don't know what the Paterberg is, that's okay.
Go watch Flanders.
Go watch Flanders.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll head over there, and I think we're racing 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay. So it's not like
it's not a stage race.
It's just a series of races.
Let's just learn to race Belgian kermesses.
Okay. Yeah, explain kermes. What's kermes?
Kermes, the way I've been described, which is just the Belgian. It's like the standard Belgium race for juniors. And the kermes is according to how I've been described. To how it's been described to me. There we go. It's like the intensity of a crit, but for 2 hours. So you're gonna have packs of 100 or more, and I've been told that out of 120 starters, maybe only 40 will finish, because guys are willing to just go until they step off the bike.
Wow.
So that'll be a very, very different
Yeah.
idea of racing from what we're doing here. So you have to be able to handle the bike really well, and you have to be ready for some really, really intense effort on Belgian roads.
Wow.
Belgium is a cycling intensive country.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's their sport.
So we've had to learn how to we have to register him for these races from here.
Interesting. Okay.
And so when you go, you get registered just into the site where you register for races, and you can see that every week there's dozens of races all over the country.
Wow.
And so you just got to pick the one for the right category and right day, and they can race 3 times a week. And it's a very different experience.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, we travel to get to a race now and then as we can do it. And for these kind of kids over there,
you're always racing.
It's just there's a race any day they want it.
Right.
They can go find a race anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's the equivalent of basketball. In the U.S. I mean, there's just a court everywhere.
Right.
There's high schools everywhere, and they're always playing.
Right.
What's interesting, I am curious, Bear, what life is like going to be outside of riding and racing over there for you. Like, what have they given you? Like, here are some places to go to. You know, like, are you going to go as a team anywhere?
Yeah, they mentioned that because we'll be just staying together as a team for pretty much the entire thing. They mentioned a few different sites that we'll go and try to see. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But yeah, we'll go and do sightseeing on certain days, and obviously training a lot. There's not a lot of really hard intensive training that you do when you have racing that often. Yeah, it'll be good just kind of racing, kind of be in a team environment for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Because most days, as you were saying, most days are either recovery days or the day before a race.
Yeah.
Right. That's the way it generally is. So there's not a lot of. It's more just keeping your body going, getting yourself ready for the next race, and so that should give them a lot of time.
So you mentioned that you're going to be making meals with your team over there.
Yep.
Have you been practicing for this?
I've practiced a couple meals. Yeah.
Okay. What do you have in your?
I've got Mongolian beef and rice that I've been practicing, and a burrito skillet as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I just did the burrito skillet. What was it? 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
At like
how'd that turn out?
10:30.
Oh, okay. So
it was edible.
Okay, you ate it at 10:30?
No, I warmed it up the next day.
Oh, okay.
I went to bed. Yeah. It was too late for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I received an offer to go get free food at a friend's house, and I took the offer and went ate, and then came back and practiced
Low stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
no, there was a lot of steak at that house, yeah.
Well, are there any things like is there something you're looking forward to in any of the places you're visiting, just like travel?
I mean, just the racing and the team aspect, I think, is going to be really fun.
Totally.
Just the new sites and new racing scene, I think, is the big thing that I'm looking forward to.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we'll start bringing this in for a landing after we talk about the Tour de France.
Yep.
Because I think it's really interesting, actually, something you just mentioned, Bear, how Redlands didn't really go the way you wanted it to, but now you're looking at your power numbers and some of the other metrics, and you're like things are improving. Yeah. And that was only over the course of a month and a half. You know, I don't know how long it'll be longer at this point, but you saw some really good improvement after Redlands. Yeah. Like I felt like you had some really good results after that. Mm-hmm. Does that spell encouragement for someone like Jonas Vingegaard and Remco Evenepoel and Lipowitz, who after just seeing the display of power by Poggi, mm-hmm. Is there cause for optimism for them? Yeah. What would your mindset be going into the tour here?
I mean, like, Jonas is obviously the big contender. If anyone can, it'll be Jonas, I think. I think Lipowitz should be pretty encouraged going forward because, I mean, like, this is really kind of his breakout year, I think. He's been really strong. He finished top 10 in the Giro after working and sacrificing himself for Roglic in the first half. And now here, oh no, is Lipowitz going to the Tour?
I would just assume so because he was in this race. Usually that's a
I think he'll be. I think he'll be going to the Tour. Though I think there's also rumors circulating that Roglic will also be going to the Tour.
Interesting. Well, he's only going for about 7 days.
Okay. Yeah. I really hope he makes it through.
I know. I hope so too. I make that joke, but
you can imagine. I mean, France is having some successful riders, have some good starts to the year this year, and if they get somebody up at the front, that's always just a compelling story.
Yeah, but Lipowitz isn't French.
Yeah, he's
German.
Oh, that's right. Who was the French rider we were talking about today that was doing well?
Seychelles.
Yeah, he's at Tour de Suisse.
No, he was at Criterium du Dauphine. Julien Alaphilippe was at Tour de Suisse, but he's not going to be at GC.
Who's the other guy that was leading?
Vauquelin.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Okay. He looked strong, and I think...
he's
a younger rider. He just got, I think, his first Tour de France stage win last year. You
can cut that part out where I was just totally
No, this is uncut.
Yeah, Vauquelin got
minimal
his
editing
stage win last year at the Tour on the Tour stage up and over when they went over that big climb a couple times. And he's a pretty strong rider. He's riding well in the lead of the Tour de Suisse right now, though I think Almeida's hot on his heels. I think for those younger riders that are just coming into form like this year and like really breaking out, I don't think they need to stress about trying to get to that level quite yet because they're doing really good as in of themselves. And for Jonas and Remco, it's kind of hard to say. Remco had a pretty poor performance last year at the Dauphiné and still rode basically the perfect tour to finish third. And what we're really looking for this year is can he just close the gap? Not necessarily beat him, but can he close the gap? Right. And it doesn't look like it right now after this Dauphiné, but as I said, bad Dauphiné last year as well. And Jonas, I don't know, it's hard for me to make like a logical judgment about Jonas because I really want him to come back strong this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's faced off with Poggi before in the past in week-long stage races like at Paris-Nice a couple years ago and lost to him by more than he lost to him at the Dauphiné.
Oh, really?
And come back and beat him that year. So, obviously, Paris-Nice is a lot longer training time before the Tour than the Dauphiné. But I think we've still got over a month before like the first big mountain stage in the Tour.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go with top three. Who do you think would be the top three finishers in the Tour this year?
I think Vingo and Tade are going to be top two. And then I know if I'm just going to steal straight from the Move podcast, Almeida is looking good for top three. I don't know if Remco... It's been a rough start to the year for Remco, and I wouldn't be surprised if he slipped off the podium this year. I would love for him to stay on the podium, but I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Lipowitz or if Roglic does go to the Tour, I would love for him to get on the podium as well.
Right, so pick one.
No. I'll pick Lipowitz just to have
so basically,
a little bit of
just
hope.
run back the Dauphiné.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I mean, it's a more interesting race if it isn't somebody from those two teams in third.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? If there's
Yeah,
somebody
I know.
else
Right.
there that's...
If I think if I really wanted to play it safe, I would say like Almeida or Remco, but I think Lipovitz is a more interesting pick, and I think it's a possibility, and it'd be a huge result for him at this point.
It's true, unless Primoz comes, and then I think that could impact
and that could be tough
strategy
because
team strategies.
That'd be interesting for how Red Bull would deal with a 2-leader strategy.
Yeah.
But with Roglic's track record in terms of staying upright, they need a 2-leader strategy.
All right, Pops, what do you got?
First of all, I want to save face a little bit. There were 2 French guys that finished in the top 10 at Dauphiné.
But you weren't talking about either.
I wasn't talking about either one of those. That's why I had it in my head.
But it was a good credit for them.
It was Guillaume Martin, who finished 10th, which he's like 32, so in cycling, that's ancient. Right? That's an old guy. But the other guy, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Seychelles, is that right?
Yeah.
Boy, if that's right, that is smooth, because that's much better than many
I
ways
stole
I
that
could
directly
mispronounce
from
that.
Lantern Rouge.
It's Seixas.
Which they have been arguing about if it's Seixas or
But how old is he?
18.
He's your age, Bear. He just finished 8th in the Dauphiné.
Anything's possible, Bear.
I'm just saying, that's pretty awesome.
Imagine what he could have done if he was at Touring Tour of Ireland.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe he needs to get his priorities.
So
are you taking one of those in the 3rd spot?
No, I am not.
Seychelles isn't going to the Tour.
I don't know. I would love it if there was just somebody else. I think it's good when there's kind of a mystery rider. Somebody, or not when I say mystery, just somebody you weren't expecting, and now he's sitting up there.
I could give you.
He's in the top 5. Who would you think?
Tobias Johansson.
Yes, exactly. Right, and he's what Uno X.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think he finished top 5 at the. They finished top 5 at Dauphiné.
Yeah, he was 5th.
Yeah.
At Dauphiné.
And he looked strong last few races.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done some stage hunting in the past, and so I think I think it'll be an interesting if X wants him to go stage hunting or if they let him go for GC. But he could be strong.
And if the top 2 teams are doing what they should do, the race for 3rd is probably the most exciting race.
Yes.
Or at least the one with the most volatility.
Right.
Things could change more rapidly.
Well, I mean, it's also true that, in some of the years where Jumbo's won the Tour, they've destroyed the race and to the way where the whole podium seemed up for grabs at points.
Yeah,
that's true.
That was the stage 11 that we always talk about. Geraint Thomas and Bardet both dropped Poggi on that last climb, so it really seemed like it was all up for grabs.
Yep. And I want to see Van Aert. I want to see him at the top of his game. Yeah, because he is just fun.
And if he's at the top of his game, that's only good news for Vingegaard.
To me, that's what gives Vingo the chance.
Yeah.
If you get a full speed Van Aert, then suddenly they're incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. So who were you picking for 3? What was the dark horse that you were?
I don't know that I've picked one. I think Remco is the one that needs it the most.
Yeah.
Right. He needs to be the one to stay up in there. So I'm going to pick him, but I'm not confident in anybody.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a surprise.
Yeah.
I'd like to see 2 guys just really duking it out.
You said you were going to pick a dark horse, and then you picked the outright.
I didn't say I was going to pick a dark horse. I said I'd like it to be.
He's just working through. He's just working through his thought process.
Yeah.
Who would you pick for
4th? Who would I do 4th? See, the guy just retired that I would.
Bardet.
Bardet just retired, right? Yeah, I always loved watching him.
Yeah, he was enjoyable.
Martin would be fun. I don't know if he can do that. That would be a big surprise, right? That'd be a big surprise if he was up there.
Yeah.
Is Martinez riding this year?
I want to say he might have been in a crash or sickness recently. Right. I don't think he'll be racing the Tour. I don't think Carapaz is going to be at the Tour.
I don't believe so. What? He wouldn't? I would think he would have to be for EF, but
yeah,
he's their big money guy.
Yeah.
So
But it might make sense for them if they're
Right.
going for UCI points to send to the Volta.
Right.
Well, while Dad simmers on that, we can always
Yes.
give those picks a little closer to the race or after the first week. We can kind of see who the contenders are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all we need to cover. Anything you wanted to mention, Bear or
No.
Dad? Anything?
That was it.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing lots of. Usually I'm right up front at all the stuff that Bear's doing,
Yeah.
and beginning next week I'm like everybody else, just waiting to hear.
Yeah,
what
just
happens.
waiting for
So,
results.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned to this channel, AeroBear. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. If you want to support Bear financially, you can go to his Gifts and Go and follow him on Strava. And I think that's it. Bear, if you want to say...
This has been the AeroBear podcast. Thank you for listening.